Good morning, this is Shara Inspires yet again, speaking to you from Nairobi, Kenya. Narcissus was a Greek youth, very handsome, tall, with great dreadlocks, and the hair fell up to his back. And in the same village, this is a Greek myth that I'm talking about, and in the same village there was this beautiful maiden or a nymph, and her name was Echo. So Echo was madly in love with Narcissus, who was a hunter. She tried everything to attract his attention. She tried everything to show him love, but everything she got back was negative. He never wanted anything to do with her, and she felt very embarrassed and decided to go and hide in the forest, and all that remained was an echo of her sound crying. So Narcissus one day was walking, and he came across a pool of water. So in this pool of water, he saw a reflection staring back at him, and he wondered, wow, how handsome this person is. And he fell in love instantly with the reflection looking back at him, unable to understand that this was his own reflection. So every time he tried to embrace the reflection, only a splash of water was going around, and he was very disappointed and sat by the side of the pool, unable to contain himself, and he died there. So when the people heard about his death, and of course they came to check on his body, they didn't find anybody, and the only thing that was there was a beautiful flower that had grown on the side. And this flower had white petals and a yellow inside. These are the flowers that are called narcissus, or another name for them is the daffodil. So a narcissistic person is someone who is excessively in love with themselves. So you find that you cannot be able to tell them anything negative about themselves. They believe that everything about them is what matters, and this is what is number one for them. This person can be a colleague, this person can be your own parents, this person can be your in-laws, this person could be a co-worker, this person could be a neighbor. There are people who are very fast to devalue you. For example, if you are saying something about yourself or your successes, and you're speaking to them in front of people, and tell them that, okay, someone maybe comments and tells you that, yes, you have bought, I saw you driving in today, and I love your new car. And they will also smile back and quickly add in and say, but it's not a very attractive car like so and so's, so that they can belittle you and show you that someone else has a better car. If you're performing, your performance is good, or maybe let's take it to an office scenario whereby you are busy presenting maybe a PowerPoint presentation in front of a group, and you do it quite well, and everyone says well done. They are very quick to point out that your voice was low. They'll always look for something negative to bring you down, and it has to be them who are shining, and they have to be the last people who have the last say. If it is a grandma, for example, or a mother-in-law, you find that she will be more concerned about the children. For example, here in Africa, we have children who are named after our grandparents. For example, if we have a daughter, she will be named after my mom or my husband's mom. And you find that if you have a mother-in-law who's like that, and there are children who are named after her, she will be very concerned about them and will not bother about any other children. So every time you call them, they'll always ask you, how is Atieno doing? Because they are called Atieno, and they'll never ask you about any other child, maybe Baraka, who is in the same home, or any of your children. So you find that they are excessively in love with this particular grandchild. That is also very negative, and it doesn't add well with the rest of the children. So you find that the other children feel unloved. All right, so I can be able to relate this also with the narcissist. There are people who judge your opinions very harshly. Every time you try to portray positivity, they'll bring you down with negativity. As a Christian, I can be able to summarize for you that a narcissist is someone who works contrary or who lives contrary to the book of Corinthians, and I will read 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. This is whereby we are told how love should be according to the Bible, not the kind of love that is in the world. So, for example, if we are told that love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, love is not proud, love does not dishonor, love is not self-seeking, love is not easily angered, it doesn't keep any record of wrongs, it does not delight in evil, it rejoices with truth, it protects, it trusts, always hopeful, perseveres. Now, a narcissist will be excessively doing the opposite. For example, when you go to patient, this person will excessively and consistently be impatient. They will consistently be unkind. They will consistently show envy. They will boast about their own achievements, but they'll not give you a chance to boast about your own. So everything is about them. They are envious. They want what other people have. You might have a sister who will want her sister's husband because they prefer them and they feel that the sister doesn't deserve that kind of husband or children and they should belong to her. They always want what other people have regardless of who, and they have no barriers. If it's a co-worker, she will want your job. He will want your job. They feel that you don't deserve to be in that managerial position or that supervisory position, and it belongs to them. So they will go to any lengths to critique you behind your back, and God forbid if you have this boss who listens to other people as opposed to checking on performance, then you're doomed, because then they will go for them and you find yourself being being inadequate, and the next moment you lose your job or you have lots of demerits. And then you find that they are proud. Anything about them, you have to tell them that they have the good looks. If it's a guy, he wants you to always tell him that he's the handsome one. And every time you're with him, he will keep checking out other ladies, and he will even flirt right where you are, and it doesn't bother him. In fact, if you ask him, he's surprised that you are hot, and he wonders, and he's like, so what's a big deal if I'm talking to other ladies? He wants you to be a mouse around him, whereby you're so timid. And actually, these narcissists, they are different. There are some who come out very strongly, and you're able to see that they are boastful, they are envious, around you. But others are tricky because they look like they are timid. They come out like they are timid, like they come out like they are shy. They almost speak in a whisper. You would struggle to hear what they're saying around them. So you find like you're the one calling the shots. But this person is actually a narcissist, because the moment you're in a relationship with them, this could even be a colleague, that's when you now start seeing the narcissistic tendencies, the ones that we are actually mentioning. So you have to be observant. And all these things, it's not that there's anyone who's better than the other. These are people living with us. We are living with them, or we also could be the same. We are learning. This is a platform where everyone is learning, and every day is a learning process. So you find that they dishonor others. In front of people, someone will tell you, wow, you look so nice in that dress. And then they'll continue and add on and say, oh, except for the lower tummy, it really shows. Or for the arms, maybe you should have worn a dress with longer sleeves. You'd have looked better. They'll always add something that will make you feel embarrassed in front of people. And they are also self-seeking. They are concerned about their own welfare. It has to be about them. You visit you're visited by a narcissist in hospital, and instead of them, concentrating on you, like, excuse me, maybe it's a male who's got his wife in hospital, and then this guy visits his friend who is the male, and they're seated, and the guy is talking to his wife next to the bed, and he's like, oh, we've been here for the last 3 days, and this is the condition for my wife. And they actually start now talking about themselves. This narcissist who is visiting this couple start explaining about his condition, or how he has quickly rushed to come and see them. He has just left work, and how the jam was. They have no feelings. They are cold ice. They are ice cold. All right, and then they are easily angered. A narcissist is easily angered. You see, note that they block you. So anything you say is a no-no. They've already blocked you, and life is about them. So anything you are ready to say or you're prepared to say, they've already blocked you. They are waiting for you to just talk, and they look at you and they're just seeing your mouth moving, but they are not hearing. They are not good listeners, because they are anxiously waiting to belittle you so that they can start discussing about themselves. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you're always confused. You always sound like you're talking about somebody different. When people look at your girlfriend or your boyfriend, they wonder, because they are totally a contrast. You can find this lady, she comes to your group of maybe a chama of ladies, and she's busy saying, oh, my boyfriend or my husband, he's been mistreating me and the children, and now we really need to part ways. And to your shock, she's actually the one who's been having an affair, and she's now gaslighting the husband, talking ill about him. They're the same people. If you walk with them into a party, maybe you invite your husband to a party with your co-workers, but you find that over time, your husband has been knowing your colleagues. Maybe you go out, for drinks together. Some of them are your neighbors. So somehow they get to know your colleagues. So if your husband is a narcissist, then they will be able to bring out the negative in you to your colleagues. They will tell them how impatient you are. They'll tell them how emotional you are. They'll give the story of how maybe you miscarried, and how he's just there persevering, and he wants more children, but he's concerned about your health. And he will tell somebody else how financially you're constrained, and he's the one paying all the bills, but you're proud and you're not even able to appreciate him. Little do you know that he's saying this. So he wins your co-workers over, and every time they look at him, they are thinking, wow, Anne has such a wonderful husband. She doesn't deserve him. Goodness, look at what lengths he goes to for her. And they feel sorry for him. And this story is actually a made-up story. What the negative things they talk about, they're actually referring to themselves. They're the ones who are financially constrained. They're the ones who don't even want the children in that relationship. They're the ones who are quick-tempered and angry, and they're the ones who are promiscuous, but everything they're saying, they want it to reflect on you, and yet it is not true. But because you don't know about it, so you invite him to this office party, and he's very comfortable, or she's very comfortable, having a drink and just observing and not bored at all, which is unlike many spouses. They don't want to attend, your office parties with you. But it's because he's having the last laugh, or she's having the last laugh, because she's just looking at Mary and remembering what she has told Mary about you, and she knows that all eyes are on him and how others are feeling mercy on his behalf. And little do you know. So that is how these narcissists operate. So you find that their attitude is I don't care kind of attitude. Anything you say, I don't care. You've been promiscuous. You're the one who's having a side chick. I don't care. You're the one who lost your job. Why don't you look for another job? So what? We are paying so much rent. We are in arrears. I have to keep chipping in. Who cares? The children are going to a private school. Just confirm that you cannot be able to go to pay for the private school. Why don't we take them to a public school? Who gives a damn? That's the kind of attitude they've got. Anything you say, such that if you try and realize that this is how they are, and look for someone maybe to mediate or to talk to someone about them, like, I'm really having challenges with this colleague of mine, with this partner of mine in business, with this child of mine, People don't understand you. You are always in a daze. You're always looking crazy. And for example, you can go with your hubby to a function whereby people are discussing about how it is bad to be violent to women. And he will be the kind of man who will say, no, 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 how can you be violent to women? Women are supposed to be treasured. Women are supposed to be valued. Women are supposed to be loved. And yet in the house, he is hitting you. He is violent with you. And you're looking at him surprised like, do I know this guy? You find that you're not allowed to drive his car. Or if you're male, she doesn't allow you to drive her car. But as long as there are other people around, you suddenly find this person removing the car keys and handing them over to you. Not everybody is looking, and they send you to the car like, excuse me, could you please go and get for me that bottle of water in the car? And you're looking at him and thinking, he never allows me to drive this car, why now? Or he's looking at you and thinking, this woman, she always says the car is hers, she never allows me to drive it, so why now? You know? And you get surprised. So you're always looking like you're crazy. You always sound like you're crazy. You always sound like you're the bad person. You always sound like you're the confused person around a narcissist. And before anyone gets to know about it, you have either broken up or the relationship is over. And if you don't really get to know yourself or address him or her and let them know that you really know, or just flee for your life, like Joseph flew when he was with Potiphar's wife and even left his robe, then you're done. Because it's not easy living or relating or having a business partnership or friendship or parents who are narcissists, because they always turn everything into a nightmare. And you find that your self-esteem is totally low. And if there are guys, they will target, a narcissistic guy will target a lady who has issues. Maybe your parents have recently died, or maybe you have just lost your spouse, or maybe you have just lost your child, or maybe you have money issues. So your weakest point is what they hit at, but they come out first like they really love you, they are proud of you, and they are condoning with the issues you're going through, but it is all in deceit. Just to summarize for me, I can say that please read in the Bible 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 and everything the Bible says about that. Even the record of wrongs. These are people who keep reminding you, of which they're now narcissistic ladies. We are very good at that, women. They'll remind you of an action you did in 1987 at midnight, and whatever it was, and you have repeated it again today, 2021, the year 2021 at midnight. And this is why communication is key. We should always get to know. I always teach about knowing self-reflection, just having time alone and reflecting like, what kind of a person am I? And just accepting your strengths and your weaknesses so that you'll be able to know how to love others, and so that how others can love you back, or just do unto others what you would like them to do unto you. You cannot be able to do this if you do not know yourself. So thank you very much once again for watching, and clouds of blessings. Asante.